Thank you so much to Joel and Chaya and the whole staff here at the Museum of Natural History. You guys have all been a delight to work with. How many of you have ever seen The Shadow of the Cat? Can I get a show of hands? Oh, wow, so this is gonna be a first time viewing. Excellent. Well, I'm gonna sit in the audience with you because I'm very curious to see how you're going to receive this film. This film was made in 1961 in England at the Hammer Film Company. And some of you that follow Hammer films might recognize some of the actors in this movie who are regulars, and also the director John Grilling, who also worked for Hammer. And this movie could be considered an old dark house film. It's got the creaky old house with the staircase. It's got missing and mysterious deaths of characters. And of course, it's got many tropes of the old dark house genre overall. But most importantly, it has a cat as the center driving force through the movie. And as Angie Schneider told me right before I came on, they actually wound up using many cats in this film because apparently cats have a limited window of patience. And you could almost play a drinking game out of taking a shot every time there's a different cat featured in the lead role. If we did that tonight, I think we'd all be pretty wasted. But I'm really excited for all of you to get to see this movie. And this is such a beautiful theater. So I hope that all of you will come back for more films in this series and future programs that they do here at the museum. Now, I have a little presentation of my own before the movie starts. I would like to think that I'm here because of my work as a film historian, but I know better. I'm here because I'm the mom of a famous cat in Los Angeles. So I really think that's probably the key reason I'm standing before you right now. So I'm going to show you a little bit about him and tell you a little brief bit about my story as an accidental cat lady, an unlikely love story. By the way, this is an antique photo that I found, but it kind of feels like me in another lifetime maybe, so I just really liked it. Okay, once upon a time in a magical land called Hollywood, there was a young girl who was born on Halloween night. That would be me. I was born in Texas originally and dreamed of coming to Hollywood. I finally did so 25 years ago and became the in-house tour guide at Hollywood Forever in 2002. So little Halloween baby grew up to give tours in a cemetery. Now, in 2019, I was going through a very rough period in my life, and my black Labrador died. I had him for he was around for 13 years, and I've always been a huge dog person. I was crying myself to sleep every single night, and it was really rough for me. Well, 2 months later, a mysterious black creature appeared at Hollywood Forever on my tour. I would see glimpses. I would see a tail lurking behind a mausoleum. Then I saw a pair of accusatory yellow eyes peering at me. Then it kind of became a case of full-blown stalking at this point. This cat was clearly following my every move all throughout the cemetery, and people started to notice. And this is him. He's gorgeous. By the way, this photograph is by pet portrait artist Diana Lundeen, who's like a genius. So Diana, please stand up if you happen to be in the audience tonight. I think you're probably out there. And anyway, this is a portrait of him. And the first time I ever petted this cat, I grew up violently allergic to cats. And when I say violent, we're talking runny eyes, sneezing, and even full hives. So the first time I went to pet him, I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna break out into hives. I know this is coming, but he's so cute and I just can't help myself. So I petted him, nothing happened. I kept staring down in my hands in disbelief all day and no hives at all. So he and I fell in love and really became a team. I think people honestly went to see my tour specifically for him. I was just kind of like there somewhat. So he followed me everywhere. This is before I added treats and food to the routine. We basically were a team at Hollywood Forever, and we gave tons and tons of tours to people all over the world. But beyond that, Close Up knew he had a job to do. because there is a couple I'm close with at the cemetery. They lost a child, and Close Up would, I'll talk about his name and how he got his name, but I named him Close Up. He would sit in their laps every time they came to the cemetery to visit their child's grave. He would comfort grieving families. He would sit at graves. One day I was giving a tour, and he left my side and he started following the hearse, which was winding its way through the cemetery. He marched alongside the hearse and led the family behind the hearse through the cemetery. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The next morning I texted our funeral director, Eddie, and I said, Eddie, did I see what I think I saw yesterday? And he said, oh, there's more. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, he walked the family up to the open grave and sat with them through the whole service. I said, you've got to be kidding. He said, no. So Close Up knew he had a job to do. How I named him Close Up, okay? Well, he loved to lay on the grave of Cecil B. DeMille, the famous filmmaker from Hollywood's golden age. This was kind of his favorite spot in the cemetery. He also lives for attention, and he's a huge star. So one day I just blurted out, geez, that cat's ready for his close-up, Mr. DeMille. And then I thought, boom, that's his name, Close Up. So thus, Close Up was born. By the way, whenever they have feral cats at Hollywood Forever, they tip the ear. They cut off a little top of the ear. I wish there was a different way to do that, but it's a way to show that they've been spayed, neutered, vaccinated, etc. And we have a great cat caretaker who does her absolute best to take care of all of them, but we really try to encourage the public to please be responsible pet owners and have your pets spayed, neutered, and do the right thing by them. Diana Lundeen entered the picture yet again. We did this portrait days before lockdown occurred, and I think Diana thought I was a little insane because she said, you don't own this cat, right? You expect me to photograph you and a feral cat in a 62-acre cemetery? I said yes. I think she thought I was nuts, but I said, Diana, I need you to trust me on this. And after the shoot was over, she said, wow, that cat is an incredible professional. And he is. Look at this photograph. I mean, this is incredible. Here's another one that we did. Close Up poses like $1 million. I kid you not. It's pretty amazing. There was a problem. As in all modern fairy tales, there are a couple of villains. First villain was my evil landlord who refused to let me have cats, and I couldn't bring Close Up home. Secondly, Close Up had the Cinderella equivalent of an evil stepsister. There was another black cat, his brother, and they got in very violent fights at the cemetery. This photo was captured by cat lover and artist Gary Baseman. And of course, you can see Close Up attacking his brother and me helplessly trying to referee in the background, which of course did no good. Close Up was very badly injured in a cat fight at the cemetery, and that's where we get the Cinderella fairy godfather, which is Chris and Angie Schneider. More on them coming up. They are amazing. They took Close Up into their home. They cared for him throughout his injury, and he made a recovery. And then finally, I was able to get Close Up. I got away from the evil landlord, moved to a new apartment. Close Up had healed under Chris and Angie's love and care, and I got to adopt him. This photo was taken the night Close Up came home to live with me. And it's kind of a little modern day LA fairy tale that has a happy ending. He's brought a lot of love and joy into my life at a time when I definitely needed it, and I think that's the power of an animal and the power of that unconditional love that they provide us. And also, a friend gave me a director's chair. Close Up sits in it all the time and watches either Turner Classic Movies or Cat TV. You can't make this stuff up, you really can't. We've also been in news articles and on blogs. And we appeared on the TV show Lost LA with Nathan Masters. So Close Up's had quite a life already. And this past summer, artist Jordan Mansell painted Close Up's portrait for an entire art gallery exhibit called Perfectly Black, an art tribute to black cats. And Close Up and I live happily ever after. So that's my little story of Close Up. I'm going to talk with Chris and Angie, who are incredible people who specialize in Hollywood history and also animals. I'm going to go into a lot more detail. And also, they have some great insights into animal training and the marketing and production of the film we're about to see. So stick around because you're not going to want to miss our incredible discussion and also the Is It Cake game that we're going to play later on. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoy The Shadow of the Cat.